Disney has been struggling over the past few years. They are constantly trying to convince us that they're doing great and they've got a lot of big plans for the future, but with every move they make and every piece of content they release, they stumble. And now it is being reported that they are going back to 2D animation to try to win fans back after their latest film, Wish, is getting pummeled by critics. I have a few different things to show off, but before we get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, follow me on social media, and consider supporting through Patreon or via YouTube memberships. So, starting with this Inside the Magic article, it says Disney's latest animated film Wish will hit theaters in just a week, but the film has had almost non-stop controversies since being announced. I personally have had no excitement for this, and I used to love Disney movies. I grew up watching Disney, giant part of my life, but unfortunately, all of their recent films and pieces of content just have not kept me interested in the franchises they're either, trying to create, or the franchises they have, like Marvel, Star Wars, they have ruined such amazing things. But when it comes to 2D and 3D animation, the Disney Renaissance films definitely have a big place in my heart. Lots of love there, lots of nostalgia there. But this latest film, Wish, has been one that has not captured really anybody's attention, it seems, because yes, it has faced constant criticism over the past few months since we got teasers and trailers, especially since about 2.5 weeks ago we got the Villains song, which Disney used to be known for their villains having cool songs like Scar and the Lion King, Frollo and Hunchback of Notre Dame. I mean, such amazing pieces of work. But now they have a villain who is singing about how you live here rent free and I don't make you do chores. Like, he just seems like a genuinely decent guy. I don't know how he's the villain, but people have been criticizing it and just all overall roasting this movie. But it says the film was originally heralded as the combination of 100 years of Disney animated history and promised a stunning blend of 2D and 3D animated scenes throughout the film. But yes, as we got more information and more trailers, it became clear that Disney kind of lied and fell short on their promises. It looks half rendered and unfinished. It just does not look like it was a completed product, and they still expected us to basically shovel out money for this movie. But now they're facing problems because this was their future direction. It seemed like they were really happy with Wish, and they were kind of banking on it going forward to kind of reignite their animated films, but it does not seem like that is going to happen. It says, in an interview with the Direct, Wish's co-director seemed to prove otherwise. He addressed the film's use of 2D animation, saying that it was inspired by the legacy of the 2D animation, and stated that the studio would absolutely look into including 2D animation in their future movies. But he continued on with saying that it seems like that was Disney's plan, from the start, right? Trying to convince us that they were always planning to go back to 2D animation, which clearly is a lie because they have not done 2D animation in years at this point. It seemed like they were really focused on 3D, and then with this movie, they tried to do this blend, which didn't work, and it does not look good because it looks half finished. But people are saying things like, yes, they're going to go back to the good old days. I would not trust Disney. They have given us no reason to trust them. They are constantly changing their minds, and maybe they won't even go back to 2D, even though he's saying that this is the case, because I just don't trust him or the company. I'll believe it when I see it because it's been almost 15 years since the last big 2D animated film. I completely agree with this stance. It would be good to see them go back to 2D. Now, we don't even know what the content of the movie would be, so who knows if it would even be good or if it would be shoved with narratives. That's not the point, though. Looking at just 2D animated, that would be very nostalgic, but at the same time, yeah, I'll believe it when I see it. I don't trust them, and you shouldn't either. Then why haven't they made any more 2D movies in over a decade with 2011's Winnie the Pooh? Why has it been strictly 3D movies and live action remakes? I will believe it when I see it. Yeah, they have also been very focused on live action remakes, but I do think that the timing of this is a little bit suspicious, seeing as not only is Wish finally releasing and the scores are bad, which I will show in a minute, but just a few weeks ago, we heard that if the Snow White live-action adaptation with Rachel Zegler fails, they will not be doing any more live-action remakes, or they will be very picky about upcoming live-action remakes, because from what we have heard, it has a giant budget, okay? Over $250 million. Some sources even say it's going to have over $300 million. I believe the number was 330. So the estimates are varying quite a bit, but if they seriously put $330 million into that movie, that means that they expect it to almost make $1 billion, which is just such a large amount of money. And right now, it seems like that's not going to happen. Many people dislike Rachel Zegler and all the things that she has said about fans and, the 37 animated film. It just doesn't seem like they have a lot of confidence in it, given they delayed it by a full year, hoping that the backlash with her would die down, and they released that first look image of her in these 7 dwarves, magical creatures, companions, whatever you want to call them, and that did not satiate people, right? That did not calm people down and go, you know what, this actually looks decent. But as I was saying, Wish is finally going to be releasing, and it is not doing good. Now, obviously, I do not trust critic scores, right? The critics have given us no reason to trust them. There are many Disney shills out there, but they're also not rating it very well. As you can see, it is sitting at a 58% all critic and a measly 43% top critic, and I'm just going to read a handful of these so that you can get the general idea of what they're saying. Wish's visually appealing celebration of Disney's 100th anniversary mostly lacks inventiveness and features some memorable music. As a Disney animated film, Wish is more forgettable than iconic. Even with a talented cast, the movie's plot, characters, and songs are generic and derivative. Its references to other Disney movies make it look more like shameless shilling than fond reminiscing. At a certain point, Wish feels so preoccupied with referencing Disney's other movies and appealing to the broadest audiences possible that it forgets to tell a story of its own. Now, if I was in control of Disney, what I would have done for the 100th anniversary is a spin on Fantasia. Now, if you don't know what that was, Fantasia came out in 1940, and it consisted of 8 animated segments set to pieces of classical music that were performed by a real orchestra, but it had characters like Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck, Daisy Duck, new characters, and funny enough, they're fighting Yen Sid, which is Disney spelled backwards, because he's a powerful sorcerer in Fantasia. So while it had this musical mix to it, it also still had a story and 8 segments of that story, and yeah, they were basically fighting Disney. I thought that was really unique. I remember watching that growing up, and for a 100th anniversary, I probably would have tried to do a spin on that and bring fan favorite characters in, while also inviting new characters in that we might possibly see in future movies, and see if any stick with the audience. But that's not what they did. They created Wish, a movie with a villain who really isn't even the villain, a lackluster story, mediocre visuals that honestly some people are saying look terrible, and it is a very cookie cutter film. I personally think that this co-director is coming out saying these things to try to damage control for not only Wish, but also Disney in general. I don't see them changing anytime soon. I do not trust Disney at this point, but while Wish is being panned by critics, Disney is allegedly planning a 2D animation comeback And I just am very skeptical, like I'm sure many of you will be as well. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed this and of course found it important and informative, make sure to give it a like, share it, and subscribe to the channel. And of course, if you didn't, make sure to give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I will talk to you all again in the next video really soon.